Every day, you rise. The sun may greet your window, the world may still be asleep, but something deeper stirs inside you, something more powerful than the morning breeze or the weight of yesterday's burdens. It's the whisper of greatness. Not loud, not boastful, but steady, present, calling. Success doesn't arrive with fanfare. It doesn't knock at the door like a grand invitation. It grows in the quiet. It grows in the unseen. It grows in the choices you make when no one's watching. And here's what the world doesn't tell you. It's not about doing extraordinary things once in a while. It's about doing simple, profound things every single day with devotion, with clarity, with fire. Massive success is not the result of random miracles. It's the result of consistent rituals. It's built in the fabric of your day. Not someday, not one day, but this day and every day after it. You don't attract success by wishing for it. You attract it by becoming the kind of person who lives in alignment with it, who thinks, moves, speaks, and breathes like success is not just coming, but already here. You want a different life? Begin with different habits, not in theory, but in action, in repetition, in the sacred rhythm of your daily execution. Because nothing changes until you change what you do daily. Massive success, true success, the kind that rewrites your future and leaves a legacy behind you, that success is born in the mundane, in the habits so small, so simple. They're easy to dismiss, but powerful enough to shift your destiny. The first habit is the foundation. 1. Command your mind before the world does. Before your feet hit the floor, before the notifications begin to sing, before the noise of the outside world claws its way into your peace, you must claim your mind. Because if you don't command your thoughts, the world will. And the world doesn't care about your dreams. It will bombard you with noise, urgency, fear, distraction, and if you're not armored in purpose, it will shape you into someone you never meant to be. Your mind is your battleground. And every day you wake up, the war begins not out there, but in here. Will you drift or will you direct? Will you react or will you respond? Will you start the day on your terms or will you be dragged through someone else's agenda? Success begins in the first few moments of the day, not with action, but with alignment. Before you do, you must be. Before you build, you must center. Commanding your mind means waking up and saying, "This is who I am. This is what I believe. This is what I will build. This is the energy I bring. No matter what happens, no matter what comes my way, I remain grounded, focused, sovereign." It means silence. It means breath. It means intention before interruption. You don't owe the world your attention before you give it to yourself. And don't mistake this for fluff or routine. This is spiritual warfare. This is strategic grounding. This is soul armor for a chaotic world. You journal, you visualize, you speak out your goals, you lock eyes with the vision, you remind yourself, I am not here to be controlled. I am here to create. And when you do that, when you command your mind before the world does, you don't just own the morning. You own your life. 2, move with intensity, not laziness. Your body is not a side note to your success. It is the engine. It is the physical manifestation of your commitment, the vessel through which your spirit executes vision. And if you neglect it, if you let it weaken, slow, and slouch, don't be surprised when your mind follows. Because energy isn't created by chance. It's summoned, it's stirred, it's moved into existence. You must move, not randomly, not casually, with intensity. Intensity is not rage. It is not recklessness. It is presence, focus, full engagement with the moment, the task, the motion. When you move with intensity, you are declaring to yourself, I am here. I am awake. I am ready. You don't tiptoe into your day. You charge into it. Laziness is seductive. It will whisper, you deserve a break. You've done enough. Tomorrow will be better. But laziness is a liar, a thief, a comfort clothed in chains. Intensity, on the other hand, is uncomfortable, but it is liberating. And it doesn't require a gym, a trainer, or a schedule. It requires decision. The decision to move your body like your life depends on it, because it does. Walk faster. Sit taller. Train harder. Breathe deeper. Stretch longer. Sweat. Push. Fight the urge to coast. Because your physiology affects your psychology. And when you move your body with intention, you awaken your mind with power. Motion creates emotion. You want confidence? Earn it through action. You want clarity? Create it through motion. You want momentum? Build it with your feet, not your fantasies. The successful don't move because they feel like it. They move until they feel like it. They don't wait for energy. They create it. So today, move like you mean it. Move like your future. Depends on your posture, your pace, your pursuit. And every time your flesh says slow down, your purpose replies, we move with intensity now, because greatness doesn't crawl, it charges. 3, feed the fire, not the fear. There is a fire inside you, a burning center of strength, vision, potential waiting to be fed. And every single day, you feed something. You either feed the fire or you feed the fear. You feed courage or you feed doubt. You pour fuel into your vision or you drown it in distraction. What you allow into your mind, your spirit, your space is either sharpening your edge or softening your will. There is no neutral. Every input is a vote. Every scroll, every video, every conversation, every headline. A vote for the person you're becoming. Fear feeds on noise, on comparison, on opinion, on chaos disguised as content. Fear feeds when you fill your day with everything except what you were born to do. But fire feeds on focus, on truth, on wisdom, on silence, on intention. You must become a gatekeeper of your attention, a warrior of your inputs. You must guard your mind like it's sacred, because it is. If you start your day with fear-based content, gossip, headlines, drama, don't be surprised when your courage fades and your creativity dies. But if you wake and feed the fire with books that provoke growth, voices that ignite clarity, messages that remind you of who you are, that fire grows quietly, powerfully, and it begins to consume everything in its path that doesn't align with your highest calling. Feed the fire when you're tired. Feed the fire when you're discouraged. Feed the fire when no one claps, when results seem slow, when it's tempting to numb out and disappear. Because what you feed, you fuel. And what you fuel, you become. So feed the words that empower. Feed the thoughts that clarify. Feed the actions that reinforce identity. Feed the standards that stretch you. Your mind is soil, and it does not care what you plant. It will grow anything. It will grow weeds of worry or roots of wisdom. So don't just be motivated. Be fed, be fueled, be lit from within with a steady flame that the winds of adversity can't extinguish. Because you are not here to live small, safe, hidden, quiet. You are here to burn. So feed the fire and starve the fear every single day. 4, reconnect with a mission every single day. Drift is not a dramatic fall. It is slow, subtle, silent, and deadly. It happens when you stop checking in with your mission, when you allow routine to replace reason, when you trade alignment for activity, and forget why you started in the first place. Your mission is your compass, and if you don't reconnect with it daily, life will pull you in 1,000 directions that have nothing to do with where you're meant to go. The world will not remind you who you are. It will try to convince you to become what is profitable, what is popular, what is safe. And if you don't wake up and remember yourself, you will lose yourself. You must remind your soul of the vision daily, not once a year in a journal, not on your birthday, not at rock bottom. Every single day, you open your eyes, and before you give your energy to the world, you give it back to your mission. You ask, what am I building? Who am I becoming? What matters most today? What would the highest version of me do with this moment? You see the goal again. You feel it, you speak it, you breathe it into your bloodstream because clarity fades. And if you don't renew it, you replace it with noise, with distraction, with urgency that feels important but means nothing. Reconnecting with your mission keeps you sharp, keeps you honest, keeps you hungry. It makes the hard things make sense. It makes the suffering sacred. It makes every sacrifice worth it. And here's the truth. If your mission isn't real enough to pull you out of bed with fire, then it's not a mission, it's a wish. The disciplined don't live by wishes. They live by vision. They wake up, they revisit the mission, and they recommit. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because that's when it matters most. So no matter how busy the day, no matter how heavy the load, pause, reconnect, recalibrate, and remind your soul, this is where I'm going, and nothing will pull me off course. Because when your life is rooted in mission, you don't chase meaning, you live it. 5, do one hard thing on purpose. Every day. Not when it's convenient, not when you feel inspired. Every single day, do something uncomfortable, something that stretches you, challenges you, sharpens you. Because the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that one hard thing. Success does not belong to the most comfortable. It belongs to the most courageous. Those willing to walk into resistance and not flinch. And no, the hard thing doesn't have to be dramatic. It could be the phone call you've been avoiding, the truth you've been swallowing, the habit you've been putting off, the workout that tests your limits, the commitment that feels like a weight on your shoulders but is actually the key to your liberation. Do it. Not to prove anything to anyone else, but to remind yourself who you are. Because every time you choose the hard thing, you rewrite your identity. You say to your mind, we do hard things now. You say to your fear, you don't control me anymore. You say to your future, I'm coming for you. Not in theory, in action. And something changes when you live that way. You stop shrinking. You stop hesitating. You stop second-guessing your power. You start stepping. You start deciding. You start leading. Because here's the truth. Success isn't born on the easy road. It's born in the fire. And the fire responds to those willing to stand inside it, not run from it. So wake up and do something that scares you. Something that demands growth. Something that makes you sweat, emotionally or physically. That one act, done daily, will separate you from 99% of the world. Because most are waiting for it to get easier. But not you. You're becoming stronger. Which leads to the 6th and final habit. The one that multiplies every other. 6, end the day with full alignment. Not in regret, not in exhaustion, in alignment. This is where most people lose momentum. They let the day blur into distraction. They close it without reflection. They collapse into bed with their phone in hand, their spirit drained, and their mind spinning. Not you. You close your day with intention. You ask, did I live today by design or default? You ask, what did I do today that moved the mission forward? You ask, where did I lead with discipline, and where did I let emotion win? You don't shame yourself. You sharpen yourself. And then you decide tomorrow's strategy before you close your eyes. Because the person who ends the day with clarity begins the next with conviction. You don't stumble into excellence, you schedule it. You don't guess at success, you live it. And this is the habit that transforms the other 5 into a lifestyle. You wake up on fire. You move your body. You feed your mind. You reconnect with your mission. You do something hard, and you close the day in truth. That rhythm, that ritual, that life is how massive success is born. Not in chaos, not in chance, but in discipline, in alignment, in habits so sacred, so consistent, so forged into your identity that success doesn't become something you chase. It becomes something you attract, something you deserve, something you are. Because when success is who you are, not just what you seek, everything changes. You stop negotiating with laziness. You stop waiting for permission. You stop chasing shortcuts that steal your strength. And instead, you build quietly, relentlessly, with a presence that speaks before you do, with a consistency that shocks those who only knew your former self. Because that's what these 6 habits do. They don't just make you productive, they make you formidable. They build something in you that money can't buy, a structure, a standard, a fire that cannot be extinguished by failure, fatigue, or rejection. Every time you live these habits, you take another brick and lay it in the foundation of your future. And no one can take that from you. They can mock it, doubt it, dismiss it, but they can't deny it. Because results are loud. Discipline is louder. And the person who masters these 6 daily habits doesn't beg for opportunity, they become the opportunity. They walk into rooms differently. They speak differently. They attract differently. Because everything about them says, I am aligned, I am focused, I am dangerous, not because I wish, but because I work. And this world bows to that kind of energy, not out of fear, but out of recognition. Recognition of a soul that chose growth over comfort, vision over distraction, commitment over chaos. And in a world full of drifters, that kind of person is magnetic. So let this be more than words. Let this be a mirror that shows you not who you are today, but who you could be if you truly live the habits that greatness demands. You already know what to do. Command your mind, move your body, feed the fire, reconnect with the mission. Do one hard thing, end the day with truth. 6 habits, done daily, done with purpose, done without fail. That is the recipe. That is the rhythm. That is the life. And the life is waiting, not ahead of you, not in some distant future, but in your next decision. So choose. Choose to rise with discipline. Choose to move with courage. Choose to lead with clarity. Choose to become the kind of person success cannot ignore. Because that kind of success, the kind that outlasts you, the kind that transforms everything it touches, doesn't come from force. It comes from flow. The flow created by habits lived daily, relentlessly, unapologetically, unstoppably. And when you live that way, when your days are no longer random, but ritualized, when your actions speak louder than your affirmations, when your habits align with your highest self-success, is no longer a distant concept. It becomes your rhythm. It becomes your nature. It becomes inevitable. Because the real transformation was never about achieving more, it was about becoming more. And now you are. You are the builder. You are the fire. You are the cause behind every effect. So stand tall, walk boldly, and live these 6 habits until the world has no choice but to feel the weight of your presence. Not someday, not one day, every day. You want to change your life? Then understand this. The most powerful investment you'll ever make is you. Not stocks, not property, not cryptocurrency. You. Because the most dangerous person in any room is the one who's relentlessly upgrading their mind, their character, their habits, without waiting for permission, applause, or a paycheck. And here's the truth most people run from. You don't need money to grow rich inside. You don't need a course to develop character. You don't need a seminar to sharpen discipline. You don't need to buy your way into excellence. You build your way in. And if you're still breathing, if there's still fight left in you, then you've already got everything you need. Because there are riches deeper than dollars. There is wealth more powerful than gold. And it lives in how you show up for yourself when no one's clapping, no one's watching, and no one's coming to rescue you. So let's go deeper. The first way to invest in yourself, the foundation, the fire, the filter through which everything else must pass, is attention. Where your attention goes, your life goes. Most people wake up and give their attention to whatever shouts the loudest. Their phone, the news, other people's expectations. They scroll through fear, drama, comparison, and wonder why their spirit feels empty. But not you. You're here to shift that because your attention is sacred. You must learn to direct it like a laser, not scatter it like confetti. Start the day in stillness, not stimulation. Command your attention toward growth, toward silence, toward vision. Feed your mind intentionally. Not everything that's available, only that which aligns with who you're becoming. Because attention is energy. And if you let the wrong things steal your focus, they will also steal your future. You protect your focus like a soldier protects the gate no nonsense gets through. Only what builds, sharpens, elevates. That's investment without money. That's ownership without cost. The second way to invest in yourself? Sleep. You think this is soft? You think high performers don't sleep? No, they protect it. Because they understand one thing clearly. Your energy is everything. Sleep is not laziness. It's strategy. It's how your brain files wisdom. It's how your body regenerates strength. It's how your soul recovers from the battles of becoming. And you don't need a spa or a vacation to rest. You need a decision to put the phone down an hour earlier, to stop scrolling through everyone else's life and start preparing for your own, to set boundaries that protect your recharge, because you can't lead when you're tired. You can't create when you're depleted. You can't think straight when your body is begging for rest. Invest in sleep not as a luxury, but as a non-negotiable. It doesn't cost a dime, but it pays in clarity, in confidence, in calm. And from that place of rested power, you step into the third investment, movement. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need fancy gear. You need motion. You need fire. You need sweat. Because your body is not a separate thing. It is your vehicle. And if the vehicle breaks down, the mission stalls. Every walk, every push-up, every stretch, it's not about aesthetics. It's about sovereignty. It's about looking yourself in the mirror and knowing, I didn't wait. I moved. And when you move, your mind moves too. Clarity returns. Fog lifts. Fire rises. Motion kills anxiety. Motion destroys stagnation. Motion makes you magnetic. Don't wait for motivation. Move first and let momentum follow. This is investment. This is the sacred act of saying, I will not sit in decay. I will rise, even if I have to crawl. That leads you to the next. Your words. Do you even realize how powerful your voice is? Not the one people hear, the one you hear. Your self-talk is either your greatest weapon or your silent assassin. What do you say when no one's around? Do you build yourself or do you bury yourself? Every sentence you speak over your life is a spell, a command to your subconscious. So speak with fire. Speak with focus. Speak what you seek until you see it. Not because it's magic, but because it's memory. The more you repeat, the more you believe. The more you believe, the more you become. You want to invest in yourself? Start with your language. Eliminate the phrases that weaken your will. I can't. I'm just not that kind of person. I've always been this way. Replace them with truth. I'm growing. I'm learning. I'm becoming. Speak like someone who has already won, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. Because your words are not reflections of reality. They are blueprints for your becoming. No cost, no subscription, just intention. And from there comes the next investment, one most people never touch. Your environment. You don't need a mansion to create a space of power. You need discipline. Clean your space. Organize your chaos. Remove the things that remind you of failure and surround yourself with symbols of your future. Because your environment is not neutral, it talks to you. The clutter, the noise, the distractions, they whisper stories of delay, confusion, doubt. But when you shift your space, you shift your state. Make your room a sanctuary. Make your desk a war room. Make your home a reflection of the greatness you're stepping into. You don't need to buy new things. You need to build new standards. That's investment. That's transformation. That's what the average will never understand. because they think success starts out there with money, attention, followers. But it doesn't. It starts with how you live in the places no one sees. And when that alignment deepens, when your space, your mind, your energy rise, you begin to attract something few ever touch. Learning, not academic, not degrees. Personal evolution. Read, reflect, rethink. Every page is a doorway. Every new idea is a weapon. You want to grow? Make learning non-negotiable. Not because you have to, because you can. Because you honor the privilege of expansion. And no, you don't need endless books or courses. Start with one. Study it, apply it, master it. Read not to sound smart, but to become sovereign in your thinking. To outgrow lies. To challenge your limits. To sharpen your sword. That is how you invest without money. With time, with hunger, with relentless curiosity. And finally, the seventh, relationships. Not all of them, the right ones. You don't need 1,000 friends. You need 5 people who reflect your future, not your past. And this is the investment most people avoid because it requires boundaries. It requires truth. It requires letting go. But energy is contagious. And the people around you are either feeding your fire or draining your soul. You want to invest in yourself? Audit your circle. Cut the noise. Strengthen the real ones. Build relationships where truth is spoken, growth is welcomed, and mediocrity is not allowed. You don't need to be around people who make you feel good. You need to be around people who make you feel challenged. Because iron sharpens iron, and your future depends on who's holding the blade next to you. None of this costs money, but it will cost your comfort. It will cost your excuses. It will cost your old identity. And that's the price of greatness. Not dollars, not fame. Decisions. Decisions to wake up and invest in your mind, your body, your spirit, your environment, with nothing but the raw power of intention. Because when you do that, when you commit to daily internal investment, the external rewards become inevitable. You don't chase success. You become it. And when you become it, when success is no longer something you pursue, but something you embody, everything around you begins to shift. People feel it before they understand it. Opportunities arrive not because you begged for them, but because your presence demanded them. Doors open not because you knocked, but because you've become the key. That's what this kind of investment does. It builds the kind of foundation that earthquakes can't shake. It creates a version of you that doesn't flinch under pressure, doesn't beg for clarity, doesn't shrink in rooms where power is present. Because you are the power now. Not because of money, not because of fame, but because you made the daily, ruthless, disciplined decision to show up for yourself when no one else did. And let this burn into your soul. Nobody owes you this. Not the world. Not your friends. Not your boss. Not your family. This life you want, this peace, this strength, this wealth of character and clarity, it is earned. Not through entitlement, through embodiment, through choosing to invest every ounce of what you do have instead of complaining about what you don't. Time, energy, focus, hunger, discipline. You already have the currency. What you've been missing is the conviction. The conviction to stop playing small. To stop waiting for ideal conditions. To stop telling yourself that change is expensive. No regret is expensive. Delay is expensive. Settling is expensive. Growth is free, but it demands everything that's false inside you. It demands that you shed every identity that was built on fear, every habit that was built on survival, every excuse that kept you one decision away from your destiny. So now you know the truth. 7 ways, 7 shifts, 7 doors to a different life. And not one of them requires money. They only require a soul that's done being average, a soul that's done waiting, a soul that's ready to step out of the shadows of indecision and own every ounce of power still left on the table. So stand up right now, wherever you are. Stand in the quiet of this moment and decide that your life is no longer for sale, that your future will not be built on convenience, that your name will not be remembered for excuses, but for execution. Because greatness has never belonged to the wealthy. It has always belonged to the willing. So be willing, be relentless, be unapologetic about your evolution, and invest in yourself every day, in every way, until the world no longer recognizes who you used to be. Until they ask, how did you do it? And you won't say money. You won't say luck. You'll say, I invested everything I had, attention, discipline, courage, hunger, and I became someone unstoppable.